Holly Holm taking on Irene Aldana. This is a really good fight. Holly Holm is 13-5. We all know the legend of Holly Holm. She dethroned Ronda Rousey. Excellent kickboxer. She's got solid striking everywhere. Nice body kick. Good side kick that she uses to maintain range. Underrated grappling. Very physically strong, and people always seem to forget that. Strong body lock. If she gets her opponents to the mat, she's got good wrestling, heavy top pressure. She stays safe. She has excellent submission defense, and she has no problem grinding out a boring fight. Irene Aldana, 12-5. Very exciting young prospect. Tall, long, lanky, high tight guard, circles her opponents, long stiff jab, uses the inside-outside leg kicks to great success. Extremely high output. She does, however, have a bad tendency of giving up trip takedowns. Now, she's another one of these fighters that when she hits the mat, she's very comfortable because she has a good, solid offensive submission game. She uses heel hooks and leg locks to try to sweep and submit, get back to her feet if she can. But this is a massive step up in competition for Irene Aldana. She's coming off a clean knockout win over Ketlen Vieira, the chick that we made some serious cash on just last week. But I honestly feel like that was a bit more fluky than anything. Now, Holly Holm is getting up there in age, but she keeps on showing us time and time again that she can turn back the clock. And she's coming off a training camp with Michelle Waterson. She was helping her get ready for Angela Hill, and she trains at Jackson's MMA, where she works with John freaking Jones. They're kind of the last two of the Mohicans over there training at the top level. And this is a really tough fight, folks. Irene Aldana's got more output. She's going to be the busier striker in there. If this fight stays standing, if it stays on the feet, I think Aldana can probably work her way to a decision victory. However, Holly Holm, as I said, has zero problem taking advantage of her opponent's weaknesses. She takes the GSP approach. She has no problem finding that one little chink in your armor and then going there the entire rest of the night to win a fight. I think she's going to be the stronger woman, and I think she's going to get the takedowns. I think Holly Holm is going to bully Irene Aldana up against the fence, grind out the clock, and she'll be able to key-yaw and strike the legs from distance. She'll use that side kick to keep Irene Aldana out of boxing range. I think Holly Holm is the side here, folks. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet it, but she has insanely good high IQ. She has solid submission defense, so I'm not afraid of Irene Aldana's submission game in this spot. The thing that scares me is the volume. I know the volume striking of Irene Aldana will work well on the judges over in Abu Dhabi. We've talked about how on Fight Island the judges really favor volume. If you don't do anything with the grappling, if you don't do anything with taking your opponents down, then they will not overly credit you for that type of a setup. And so if Holly Holm does nothing with the takedowns, then she may give away this fight. However, Holly Holm does a good job of staying active on top. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I know a lot of people who are on Aldana. I don't hate you for taking the younger fighter here. I think that's not a bad opportunity at even money or plus 110, plus 120 if that's where you got her. But honestly, I think Holly Holm is going to make this really boring, and I think she's going to grind out a win. Looking at the stats here, someone asked about the takedown defense. Irene Aldana does have a 93% takedown defense rating. But let me go ahead and go over this here with you. Ketlen Vieira didn't even bother with the takedown. Vanessa Mello, okay, who? Raquel Pennington, who ended up getting a takedown on her later in the third round. She went 1 for 6, but we've seen that Rocky Pennington is not as physically strong as some of these girls and seems to be fading. That was in 2019, where Pennington was actually having a really rough run, didn't really look quite like herself. So I put a little asterisk next to that. She fought Betch Correia, which, who cares? Lucy Pudilova, again, who cares? Tatiana Bernardo, Caitlin Chukagian, Leslie Smith. She has not fought anybody who is interested in taking her down. I mean, Caitlin Chukagian went 0 for 11 on her takedown attempts, but we know that Chukagian's game isn't really the grappling, so I don't know that we can trust these takedown defense numbers. I don't know. I'm tempted to play Holly Holm on this one. And again, like I said, Holly Holm has no problem making this fight boring. If she cannot get Irene Aldana to the mat, she'll just pin her up against the cage. We've heard coaches talking about how you can treat the fence of the octagon like a mat. You can do jujitsu off your back when you're up against the cage. Just pretend you're on your back on the floor. Holly Holm does that. She will pin you up against the cage. She'll work your body. She'll knee your legs. And she'll just grind off 3 minutes before the referee splits you and puts you on the other side. I do think that this is a very, very bad main event. Honestly, as much as I like these women and as much as I like the fight, this needs to be a co-main slot. There's much more exciting fights that you could have done for a main event. Holly Holm needs to stop main eventing fights. I know she's got a following. I know she's got a fan base, so I know it's probably just a numbers game for the UFC, but everyone gets all hyped up. They show the Ronda Rousey head kick. They show the Bethe Correia head kick, and everyone gets all pumped up for the slugfest, and then Holly Holm roughs him up against the cage, and we have 25 minutes. 25 minutes of watching the most boring women's MMA fight of all time. That's what I expect on Saturday, folks. I think this is going to be a slow, grinding fight, and good luck to you if you decide to go ahead and bet on it. I'm going to go ahead and side with Holly Holm here. I don't know that I'm going to actually bet it, though, so make sure you follow me over at Diehard MMA Pod on Twitter. I tweet out all my action over there. I don't know if I'll have much more action this week, but I am going to look at props and totals when they drop.